Launching an EC2 instance in AWS is a key skill. In this video, we will guide you through the entire process from accessing EC2 dashboard to configuring your instance, setting up security groups, and connecting via RDP. Whether you are setting up a Windows instance or learning about network settings like inbound or outbound rules, this tutorial will provide you with practical insights to get your instances up running smoothly. Also, don't miss the end for a special free class to kickstart your AWS journey.
And if I have to launch the EC2 instance, then I need to open EC2 service on my dashboard. The very first page that you see over here is known as EC2 dashboard, the one which we land up when we log in into our AWS portal is our console homepage, and this one is our EC2 dashboard. Now, if I go to the instances over here, if I click on this, I'll be able to see the list of running and stopped instances in this box. Right now, I do not have any instances in this region. If I want to launch an instance, like I will click on launch instance, there will be a page that will get opened where I need to provide the name of the instance that I am launching. So let me give it a name, Windows instance. Going down, I will choose the AMI of Windows type. Make sure it's free tier eligible as told yesterday. Keep the instance type as free tier eligible. The T2 micro is the instance type, which is free tier eligible. In the key pair, yesterday we have created a key pair. So I will use the same key pair today also. So the name of the key pair that we created yesterday. Oh, so we have, see, we have done the practical in London region yesterday. That is the reason I'm not able to see the key here. So if you want to use launch the machines in NV region, then because you do not have any of these keys, then you will be required to create the new key pair here. Otherwise, as I have told you that once if you have decided that you will be working in a certain region, then always stick to that region only for all your practicals. Do not switch between the regions. Reason then, identifying the left out or running service becomes difficult. Now see, when we are in London region, you can see it at the top. In this region, you will be able to see the key pair that we created yesterday, Spectra London. So now over here, I will launch the Windows instance T2 micro type. I will choose the operating system for it as Windows. So the AMI has been chosen to be Windows. In the key pair, I will select the key pair that we created yesterday. And then as I have told you that you do not have to change anything here. Just notice one thing, that in the network settings, there is a firewall that is getting created over here, and you are calling it as security group. Security group is a set of firewall rules which will control the traffic for your instance. Now, in this, what happens basically, whenever you deploy a EC2 instance in AWS cloud, there is a small firewall that gets associated with this machine. The firewall will filter the incoming and the outgoing traffic. So for the traffic which is coming towards the EC2 instance, that is incoming traffic, on the firewall, you will have inbound rules. There will be rules on the firewall which will filter the incoming traffic. You call it as inbound rules. Similarly, the traffic which is flowing out of the EC2 instance is known as outgoing traffic. And to filter the outgoing traffic, we have got outbound rules. Okay. Now, this particular rule that we are creating over here, this is a rule that we are creating in the security group. Every time you create a new EC2 instance, there is a security group that creates along with it. You can even choose the existing security groups to get associated with it. Right now, because we have chosen create the new security group for the EC2 instance, that's the reason a new security group with this name is getting created. What it is allowing, so this is actually the rule that you see over here down, is the inbound rule that you are creating. That means a rule for the incoming traffic. So suppose say this is my laptop, I'm sitting over here across the internet. The EC2 instance, you know that it is getting launched in the cloud of AWS, and I am sitting over here in Mumbai. Now from my laptop, I want to access this machine of AWS, which I have launched in London right now, right? Because we are working in London region. So obviously this EC2 instance will get created in one of the data centers of London's availability zone. Means there will be a traffic will be originated from my system. It will cross the internet from India till London. Then it will be filtered by the incoming rules, that is the inbound rules, before getting allowed to be passed on to the EC2 instance. So the traffic will come as an incoming traffic. Thus, it will be filtered by the inbound rules. If the inbound rule has the permission, then only my traffic will be allowed to be reached to the EC2 instance. Now, when I have to take the remote connectivity of this EC2 instance, which is of Windows type, we use the RDP protocol. Means on my laptop, there is an application called Remote Desktop Client, which we open to get connected to our EC2 instance, right? We have done connecting to the EC2 instance also. We have opened the remote desktop client on my laptop. Yes. So when I use this particular application to connect to the server that we have created in the cloud, there is a traffic which is originated from my system and it flows towards this EC2 instance over the internet. This service which is traveling over the internet to get connectivity to the EC2 instance uses a protocol called RDP, Remote Desktop Protocol. See, every service that you use on the network uses a protocol for communication. Protocol means rules. So it uses some rules so that the connectivity can be established. Like when you are opening a website, there is a website, suppose say created by a company. Maybe like Atul has created his website, k21academy.com. So you open it as www.k21academy.com, right? on your laptop, desktop, or mobile, you write www.k21academy.com, and you basically over the internet reaches to the website which has been created by Atul. Now, when you are hitting the website, any website that you use is using this protocol. See, something is written over here in front. If I close this window and I write K21 academy.com, this website is also reachable over HTTPS, right? So whenever you are accessing any website, the website is accessible either on port number, or you can say either on protocol HTTP or HTTPS. So these are the port numbers for the websites. Similarly, if you are taking the remote desktop of a Windows machine over the RDC application, you use RDP protocol, remote desktop protocol. So if you want that your connectivity, which is getting originated from your system towards this EC2 instance, should get allowed by the security group so that you are able to reach to the EC2 instance, you need to create a rule in the inbound rules which allows the RDP protocol. Otherwise, your connectivity will not get through. And when we are creating the machine, you can see over here, automatically the security group, the new security group that is getting created for our machine has got the following rule, which is allowing RDP traffic from anywhere. That means anyone on the internet will be able to take the RDP connectivity towards this Windows machine. If you want it not to be from anywhere, you want it to be from the specific IPs, then you can edit this rule and can make some strict rules so as to allow only selected users to be able to take the remote desktop connectivity towards your machine. So this is what your security group is there. Fine. In the same way, if this server that you have created in AWS cloud, you are planning to make this server a web server. If you are planning that this server will be a website of a company, then you call it as web server. And for that, the users should be allowed to hit the server at port HTTP or HTTPS in the inbound rules. Then you can allow the HTTP or HTTPS traffics from here. Right now, we are not allowing, we are not changing anything on this window. We are still keeping it same, but now you know that what's happening in this box. It is a firewall that is creating where we are defining the inbound rules, which will define what kind of traffic from outside is allowed to reach on the EC2 instance that we are creating. So this is basically a firewall where the inbound rules are getting created for your EC2 instance. I'm not changing anything over here, and I'm clicking launch instance as usual. Now, once the instance has been launched, I will be able to get connected to it. Okay, if I take you to the whiteboard, in the meantime, when your server is getting launched, so the EC2 instance that we have created. Remember, I have told you that whenever you create a EC2 instances in AWS cloud, the architectural diagrams of the EC2 instance would be using this as the symbol. This is the symbol that we use. So I will use the same symbol in our diagram today. So whenever we are creating the EC2 instance in AWS cloud, please understand it. Where is it getting created in AWS? So this is your EC2 instance, right? Because at the time when we were creating this EC2 instance, we are working in London region. So if this box that I have drawn over here is representing the region, so then this box is representing London region, because we have launched the EC2 instance in that region only. Fine. This is our EC2 instance, and you have noticed that we have launching it inside the London region. If I click on the EC2 instance and we go to the network settings of the EC2 instance, you can see the network related informations over here. Notice one thing, that the availability zone in which it has got created is EU West 2A. So my London region has basically got 3 availability zones. And out of these 3 availability zones, my this EC2 instance has got created inside the availability zone EU West 2A. So if I draw the 3 availability zones of my London region like this, 2A, 2B, and 2C. The technical name of the London region is EU West 2. And that is why the name of the availability zones are EU West 2A, EU West 2B, and EU West 2C. So if this box I draw over here is representing my availability zone, then there are 3 availability zones in my region. Which I can represent like this. Okay. And my this EC2 instance right now have got created inside EU West 2A. But if you notice a little bit more over here in the metadata, you will be able to identify that there is something called subnet ID and VPC ID also over here, which we will understand in our later course of the syllabus. Right now, you understand it that whenever you create a EC2 instance, the EC2 instance get created in one of the availability zones of the region in which you are working. As right now, my instance got launched in EU West 2A. The instance that got created has got public IPv4 address. So this is the public IP address of my EC2 instance. And similarly, I have also got a private IP address for my EC2 instance. So there are 2 IP addresses which gets by default assigned to my EC2 instance. One is my public IP address and one is my private IP address. we will go well in detail about what is private IP address and what is public IP address. As of now, you should understand that public IP address is the IP address via which the machine can be accessed from the public network. What do you mean by the public network? From the internet. If this little cloud that I draw over here can be named as internet, my region has got connectivity to the internet, and so as me sitting over here in Mumbai has got connectivity to the internet. So over the internet, I would be able to initiate the session, which I will be able to reach to this EC2 instance over the public IP address. The IP address that I need to use for connecting to this EC2 instance has to be public IP address, because I am traveling over the public network. This internet is basically public network. So when I want to reach to any machine from the public network, I will be requiring the public IP address. And if I want to communicate inside the private network, then I will use the private IP address. As of now, our connectivity is going through over the public network. That's why we are using public IP address. Now, you know that the EC2 instance that we have created has got a security group associated with it. Now, the security group basically gets created not inside any availability zones. Security group is belonging to the, you can call it as the security group belongs to region, which we will further go into depth down where it belongs to. But right now you can see the security group that you create can be used by the machines sitting in the availability zone EU West 2A, 2B or 2C. It's not required to create a separate security group for every availability zone. The one which I created as of now, where if you remember, I have allowed RDP, remote desktop protocol, which was using port number 3389. This was the traffic which was allowed. Then what will happen to rest of the traffic which is coming? So it will be deny all, implicit deny all is there in the security group. This security group is associated with my EC2 instance. Any traffic which is flowing towards the EC2 instance will be first screened by the security group, and then the traffic will be passed on to this machine. So when I initiate a session from my laptop at port number 3389, because this rule is existing over here, that is the reason I am able to reach up till my EC2 instance. Let me again take the connectivity of this Windows machine today. I hope you remember that to take the connectivity, I need to press Windows R on my laptop, where I need to write MSTSC. And I will write the public IP address of my EC2 instance over here, which is 18.130.235.230. After putting the public IP, if I click on connect and I click on more choices with use different account, I need to provide the connectivity credentials of my EC2 instance. We know that by default on the Windows machine, the username is administrator. And for the password has been created, but I need to decrypt it. How to decrypt the password? We need to go to the EC2 instance, the one which we are trying to get connected to. We can click on connect. Over here on the RDP tab, we will click on get password. We need to upload the private key file which got downloaded at the time when the machine was getting created. And then we will be able to decrypt the password. You can see this is the password. Let me keep it in the notepad. And I'll go back to my window from where I'm initiating the connection and will provide the password over here. And I'll click on OK. So there is a RDP session went through the internet to my machine. And now the session is getting established, the remote session. And this window that you see is my window of, or you can say desktop of the Windows machine that we have created. So our RDP session went through successfully when we have allowed the RDP protocol on the security group. If the RDP protocol was not allowed on the security group, I would not have been able to get through for this session. Now the machine is connected. Today we will also learn how to create a web server on this machine. I will make this machine as web server. Now notice one thing. The laptop that I'm having, this is my laptop. On this laptop, if I click on the start button and try to find out something like this, server manager, I don't see this because my laptop is not a server operating system machine. My laptop is having Windows 11, which is a client operating system. On this particular server, which we have created in the cloud, if you open the File Explorer, the folder icon at the bottom, and you right click on this PC and see the properties, you'll be able to see that this particular machine that we are connected to is a machine which is having Windows Server 2022 data center. This is an operating system which is installed on this machine. So that is the reason we are calling it as server, because this instance that you have created in cloud has got server operating system loaded on it. Even though it has got only 1 GB of RAM and only 1 core of processor, still it is being called as server because the operating system which is loaded on this machine is a server operating system. Okay. So now on this machine, which is having a server operating system installed on it, if I click on the start button, I will be able to see server manager here. From this control plane of server manager, I will be able to install multiple different kinds of services onto our EC2 instance. Now, suppose say I want this EC2 instance that I am creating should be acting as a website for a company. Then what I need to do is I need to enable web services on this server. Then only you can create the website on it. So first of all, I need to enable the web service. As soon as you enable the web service, this particular server will start responding to the requests which are coming from the internet over port number 80. Right now, from my laptop. If I hit the public IP of this EC2 instance, I'm copying the public IP and I paste the public IP in the browser bar. And if I press enter, that means I am hitting this public IP over port number HTTP. See, you can even see it over here. By default, when you hit a public IP from the browser bar of an Internet Explorer or any web browser, you are basically hitting this public IP at port number, at port HTTP. So this is how the URL is formed. That means you are trying to initiate the session from the laptop at port number 80. HTTP uses port number 80. Now on the security group, which is securing the EC2 instance, we have got only one port which is allowed, and that is our port number 3389. So it is but obvious that the port number 80 based session, when it will be coming from the machine. So suppose say the machine has created a session at port number 80. When the session will come to the security group, because the port number 80 has got no rule created for getting allowed, it will be matched at deny all statement and your traffic will be dropped over here. The traffic will not be able to get passed through. That is the reason you are not able to go through. That is the very first reason. Even if you go to the security group of this EC2 instance, from where can I see that security group? In the security tab, you are able to see the name of the security group. It is Launch Wizard 2. If you go a little bit down on the scroll bar, under the network and security tab, you are able to see the list of security groups which are available. So this is your Launch Wizard 2. If I click and open this security group, I can see the inbound rules over here, the outbound and the inbound rules. In the inbound rules, after creating the security group, I can add more rules by clicking on Edit Inbound Rules. Where the RDP is anyways allowed, I can add another rule where I will say HTTP from anywhere should be allowed. Okay. Then I will click on Save Rules. So on my Launch Wizard 2, now I have added a rule which will basically allow HTTP, which uses port number 80, is now allowed. So now the session will not get failed. Due to this rule, I will be now able to get through and will be able to reach to the machine. Understood? Because of this security group, we are able to reach to this EC2 instance. But still, if I hit the public IP on my browser at port number 80, I will still not be able to get any output over here. Why? Because right now, this EC2 instance that we have deployed has the web service. The web service is not enabled on it. By default, the RDP services are enabled on the EC2 instances. That's why when you came to this system at port number 3389, the machine gave the remote desktop connectivity of the EC2 instance to the laptop. But this web service is not right now enabled on it. So first of all, I have to enable the web service on my EC2 instance so that my EC2 instance starts responding to port number 8. The machine was able to respond to port number 3389 because by default at the time when the machine was created, the RDP is installed, but the web service is not installed. That's why the EC2 instance is not able to respond to the HTTP request which is being generated from the outside. So what we will do is we will enable this web service. How will we enable the web service on the EC2 instance? From the server manager of my EC2 instance, the one which I have just now opened. How have I opened the server manager on my cloud server? By clicking on the start button and by clicking on server manager. Over here on the server manager, I am required to click on this add roles and features. When I will click on this add roles and features, there will be a wizard which will get open, in which I have to go to this server roles tab. For that, I need to click on next, next, next. And now I am at server roles. Here you need to select the web server. That means this web server is now enabled on your EC2 instance. Finish the wizard by clicking all the possible nexts and install. That means now on your EC2 instance of AWS cloud, you are in the process of enabling the web service. So now the web service is enabled on this machine. Once the web service has been enabled and you hit the public IP of the machine at port number 80, you will be able to get the output. But then wait till the time the installation is completed. It is in progress. Once it is done, if you hit refresh, you will get some output over here. Going back to our EC2 instance, let's wait for the time being. When my installation is completed, right now it is progressing. Once it is done, the web service will be enabled on your server. Okay, so now let's begin further. Now, if I go to the RDP window where I have initiated the installation of the web service, you can notice that the installation has been completed and I can close down this window. If I minimize or restore down the RDP, I can see the desktop of my laptop, where if I go to the web browser and now if I put the public IP in the browser bar and hit enter, see, I got something. This particular URL, if I copy and paste it in the notepad, you will see that it is having a HTTP in front of it. See, HTTP is there. That means it is hitting this public IP at port number 80. You can refer it like this. This public IP is, we are trying to reach out to this public IP at port number 80 because we are using HTTP protocol. Now, because on the security group, we have allowed the protocol. That is the reason we are able to reach to it.
Thank you so much for staying with us till the end of the video. I have something special to share. If you loved our content today, then you are absolutely going to adore what's coming next. We have a free class, and the best part is it's available for everyone. This class goes in depth into the topics we touched on today, offering you detailed insights, comprehensive explanation, and even some exclusive content that wasn't covered in this video. All you have to do is just click the link in the description below, or if you are just starting out, just type k21academy.com/AWS02. Now all the information inside the video that we will be covering is listed here. And for the class, just click on the date, enter your name, enter your email ID, enter a phone number, and click on register now. Then you will be redirected to this page. Also, you can add this to your calendars. So I promise this is something that you don't want to miss. So go ahead, click on the link and step into the world where learning knows no boundaries. Till then, keep enjoying. I'll see you in the next video.